Welcome to Spiritual Wisdom Weekly from the Greater Orlando Center for Spiritual Living. Practical spiritual insights to help you live a more joyful, empowered, and grounded life.
Let's grow together. Well, one of the surefire ways for advertisers to catch your attention is to proclaim new, in flashy graphics or perhaps a dramatic voice. New suggests something exciting, the promise of a new or better product or a new and better way of doing things. It can also mean new just for the sake of being new, as in fashion, for instance. There's presumably nothing wrong with the clothes that you already have, but you don't want people to think you're an old fuddy-duddy, do you? So you'd better get something in the latest thing in the way of fashionable threads. And even better than new, companies periodically tout their products as being new and improved. Now, you may have bought the same laundry detergent for years, and you may have been perfectly happy with it. But when you go to the store to buy some more, you discover that it's now new and improved. And this is mostly just a way of regaining attention for an old, familiar product. Well, U.S. government regulations require only that there be a very small change in a product or just in its packaging in order to qualify it for the new and improved status. Just changing the design of the spout on the container could be enough to allow the manufacturer to claim that it's new and improved. A few years ago, Old El Paso, a brand primarily known for its salsas, began advertising their new and improved zesty flavor. New and improved zesty flavor. Turned out what they did was double the amount of salt, and that was all. And note that legally speaking, zesty has no meaning whatsoever. You may remember the new Coke campaign. The product turned out to be a flop, but it led to a highly publicized relaunch of classic Coke, and the company got millions and millions of dollars of free advertising in the form of news stories about the whole thing. And the new Coke, classic Coke episode did illustrate something, that all of this is in the eye of the beholder. The cartoon character Garfield the cat, upon seeing new and improved cat food, said, "To think, all this time I've been eating old and inferior." Well, what if we could be new and improved? We're already here, and maybe we've been here for a long time. But what if we could be our own product relaunch? A product, after all, is the sum total of all the parts. Change the parts, change the total. So what if we could make a new beginning? What if we could have a total makeover from the inside out? Well, we not only can be new and improved, but we must be new and improved because without new growth, we shrivel away. Without improvement, we are slowly dying. The New Testament advises us, be renewed in the spirit of your mind and put on the new man. And the Hebrew scriptures quote the voice of God saying, do not cling to events of the past or dwell on what happened long ago. Watch for the new thing I am going to do. It is happening already. You can see it now. It is happening already. You can see it now. Well, at the risk of being struck down by lightning by contradicting the scriptures, I'm going to say that you can't see it now unless you're looking for it. Seeing the new is always up to you. So much of what we see, after all, is attitudinal. It reminds me of that Patti LaBelle song, I've Got a New Attitude. And she sang, I'm feeling good from my hat to my shoe, know where I'm going and I know what to do. I've tidied up my point of view. I've got a new attitude. Perhaps the ultimate in a product relaunch is when Jesus said, you must be born again. Now, the traditional fundamentalist churches have created an elaborate system around this idea of being born again. And they've created something that Jesus probably wouldn't have recognized. Just like the word repent, which simply means to change your direction, the context in which Jesus said, you must be born again, makes it clear what he meant. He meant, begin again with a new idea. Begin again with a fresh outlook. Begin again with your eyes wide open to the new and improved. Question, do you enjoy birthdays? Well, you can be born again every day, and therefore every day is a birthday. Our very own Raymond Charles Barker used to say, every day is a birthday because you woke up this morning. If you don't believe that, take a look at the people who didn't wake up this morning. Well, what if we lived our lives as one big, continuous birthday party? Our first gift upon being born is our first breath, and we're receiving that gift anew in every moment. So every day is a new day, and every moment is a new moment. And Jesus also said that we must become like little children, by which he did not mean that we should become childish. What he meant was the ability to see the world through childlike wonder, the ability to believe with a child's faith and trust. When you're little, most everything you see is new, so you're willing to try new things, including things that might scare you when you get older. Remember that line, you'll put your eye out? Well, the adults who say that mean well, but what they've likely forgotten is that warning just makes the whole activity more exciting. Maybe I won't put my eye out. When I was in school riding the bus from school to home, a friend of mine one day had his hand and arm hanging outside the window of the bus, no air conditioning in those days, and a woman standing on the curb looked up and said, young man, that's a good way to lose your arm. And he said, thank you, ma'am. Do you know any other good ways? Look at life through the eyes of a child, which means try new things. Because it's easy to get stuck in the same old, even if it's a same old that we like. Being stuck there is deadly. So, try something new. Try driving a new route to work. Try driving a new way to the grocery store. Try driving a new way to this center. You might be surprised what you see. You might be surprised what's available for you. Do you put on your left shoe first and your right shoe second, or your pants leg right leg first and the left leg second? Try doing it the other way around. Meet a new person. Meet a new person here, even if it's an old new person. What I mean by that is occasionally I chat with one of our regular attendees and I mention another one of our regulars by name, only to be asked, who's that? Now, the person I'm chatting with and the person I'm referencing have been in this place dozens of times, but they either forgot or do not know, never knew, the other person's name. So today, after the service, try talking to someone different. Let's lock that into your mind by saying, don't stick with your clique, okay? So, Remember the old saying, you're as good as the company you keep. And expanding your horizons to include new and interesting people could just be the spice of life that you've been looking for. In other words, every day, try to do something original. The fact is, we were not created, past tense. We are being created, present tense. We're being created in every moment. Listen to these two quotes and see if you can guess who said them. You must be born again. And the second quote, each morning we are born again. What we do today is what matters most. Those two statements were said by the Buddha. The scriptures tell us that God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Raymond Charles Barker said that God is a now God living in a now world, creating a now experience. So how do we square this? God the same yesterday, today, and forever, and yet God always doing something new and manifesting as something new. Well, God as principle is always the same, but God as experience is always new. To use an analogy, think about electricity for a moment. We're constantly coming up with new ways to use electricity. We invent new things that are powered by electricity. But electricity has not changed. It's our creativity that's allowed us to discover new ways to use it and to experience it differently. So if we're going to live a new and improved life, we've got to be careful about getting into ruts. And let me give you an example of how this can work just on the physical plane. Think about bench pressing for a moment. When you start, you'll make rapid progress. Even very elderly people in their 80s and 90s living in nursing homes make amazing progress when they start to lift weights. But after a few weeks, their progress becomes slower and slower and slower. Why? Well, the body gets into a rut. So the solution is to do something new. Change the angle on the bench press bench, or use heavier weights and do fewer repetitions, or use lighter weights and do more repetitions. You've got to challenge the body with something new for it to respond. I read about a woman named Ernestine Shepard who worked as a certified personal trainer at her Baltimore, Maryland gymnasium. She got up every day at 3 a.m. to run. She logged about 80 miles a week. It's about 11 and a half miles per day. She lifted weights regularly. She could bench press 150 pounds. Now, Ernestine said, I feel better today than I did at 40. And in 2011, she made it into the Guinness Book of World Records as the world's oldest female bodybuilder. How old? She was 74 at the time. Ernestine Shepard learned to avoid the rocking chair and the ruts of life because she was always doing something new. Now, your mind, just like your body, requires something new in order to keep growing. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. And the same principle is true of our spiritual practices. It's easy to get into a rut, to start doing things on autopilot instead of being really alert and present and mindful. For example, you may find that over time your treatments and prayers are pretty much the same ideas, the same words, said in the same way every day. And sooner or later, those treatments will lose a lot of their power because you're not really being terribly mindful anymore. So the solution is to rearrange your spiritual practices. For instance, you could change the time. If you normally do spiritual mind treatment first thing in the morning after waking, do it after work instead of happy hour. You could change the mode of what you're doing. Do you pray sitting down? Try standing up. Do you pray lying down? Do you pray while you walk? Raymond Charles Barker walked very briskly and said his treatments in a very loud voice because he wanted to pump up the energy behind his intention. Read something different. Read a new author. Pick up a book that you've never been able to finish. Maybe at this point in your life, it will speak to you. Pray for different things. Are you one of those people who only prays when there's a problem? Well, that's not a bad thing necessarily, but how about praying for those things that are going well in your life and thereby ensure that they continue? How about praying for different people? It's not difficult to think of people that you see in our world who need an infusion of hope and of truth, which is what prayer is, knowing the truth. And how about praying for a group of people? How about praying for our board of trustees, our leadership council? How about praying for this particular center? How about praying that it grows in numbers, in consciousness, in financial health? Whatever it is, getting out of our ruts is always a choice. We know that something new is available, but we've got to latch onto it. To know about the new means nothing if we don't embrace the new. After all, the Amish know about the new. They choose to stay in the old. You may have at some point heard something called the autobiography in 4 chapters. It goes like this. Chapter 1. I walked down the road, and through no fault of my own, I fell into a very deep hole. It took me a long time to get out. Chapter 2. I walked down the road again, and I fell into the same hole. This time, it was my fault, and it took me a very long time to get out. Chapter 3. I walked down the road again, and this time, I walked around the hole. Chapter 4, I walked down a different road. How many pairs of shoes have you worn out walking down the same old road? Do you need to walk a different road? Are you going anywhere new? Sometimes you need to create a path where there doesn't seem to be one. Now, there's nothing wrong with benefiting from someone else's journey, but very often, by the time someone else's path becomes known, that path becomes too crowded for you to travel it and get to where you want to go. Do you remember a few years ago, the no money down house flipping craze? There was money to be made flipping houses, and in some cases, big money. But once it seemed that everyone was trying to get in on it, the housing market crashed, and the people who got in late lost a lot of money. So try taking a different road. It may be strange, and it may not seem to be as well lit. But once you start walking, what you'll discover is there's always enough light for those who want to walk the path, but there's always enough darkness for those looking for excuses not to walk the path. Give this some thought this week. If God cares enough to make each snowflake unique, why would we dishonor a new day by treating it as if it were the same old thing? It's time to do something new, and that may mean throwing out the old. Somebody said rather than turning the page, it's much easier to just throw the book away. Well, there may be times when it's necessary to throw out the old, but not necessarily. Experiencing the new doesn't mean we have to throw out the old. We could improve it. After all, Jesus didn't try to start a new religion. He just wanted to improve the Judaism that he practiced. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, didn't plan to start a new religion. He said that if you were a Catholic, the science of mind would make you a better Catholic. If you're a Hindu, the science of mind would make you a better Hindu. In other words, he wrote about spiritual practices that would make you a better you. He wanted to show you how to enhance your spiritual experience. Well, if you think about it, for better or for worse, new is inevitable because change always happens. So new is a given. What about improved? The Unity minister, Eric Butterworth, used to say, don't go through life, grow through life. Improvement, after all, is the whole point of life. Improvement is the whole point of the path. And evolution is proof that God is not done with creation. Frank Lloyd Wright, whose architectural designs still look remarkably modern decades later, was once asked which of the beautiful buildings he designed was his favorite. He replied, the next one. Likewise, God is still doing new things and still creating new designs. Writing in the Science of Mind textbook, Ernest Holmes tells us, a new light is coming into the world. We are on the borderland of a new experience. A new science, a new religion, and a new philosophy are rapidly being developed. This is in line with the evolution of the great presence, and nothing can hinder its progress. It is useless as well as foolish to make any attempt to cover up this principle or to hold it as if it were a vested right of any one religion or order. The truth will out. The Spirit will make itself known. Happy are we if we see these things which, from the foundation of the human race, have been longed for by all aspiring souls. The history of the world is a record of human progress. Improvement is always up to us, but the tools have been given to us. If you think about it, it defies logic that God would manifest as us and then deny itself, us, the capacity to live our lives for the greatest and highest good. So you may be wondering, is it too late to start a new life? It is never too late to start a new life. Sometimes it takes a long time before we're ready for and committed to making a change. It may have taken an entire lifetime of experience to acquire the skills necessary to make a profound change. The Buddha again. What we are today comes from our thoughts of yesterday, and our present thoughts build our life of tomorrow. Our life is the creation of our mind. What you are is what you have been. What you'll be is what you do now. You know things that you didn't know 10 years ago, or 20 years, or 30 years, or 40 years, or 50 years. You possess knowledge that can't be acquired in school or in books. Knowledge and skills that can only be learned the hard way, by living. When it comes to doing something new, that knowledge can keep you from making some of the stupid mistakes you might have made when you were 20. Remember that in order to grow, we've got to continually do something new. As Robin Sharma memorably put it, don't live the same year 75 times and call it a life. So grab onto whatever it is in your life that needs to be refreshed and renewed and make it new and improved. Well, you say this all sounds well and good, but I'm awfully busy. Who has the time? Well, the average person spends about 6 hours between TV and their digital screens. W. Clement Stone told Jack Canfield, the Chicken Soup for the Soul guy, he told Jack to eliminate 1 hour of screen time per day. And just that 1 hour per day adds up, of course, to 365 hours per year, or an additional 9 40-hour weeks. 2 months. 2 months of extra time to do whatever is most important to you. Learn a new language, start exercising, spend more time with the family, learn to play a musical instrument, go back to school and get a degree. But most of all, read. Read inspirational books, read biographies of successful people, read books about psychology and the principles of successful living. If you spent 1 hour per day reading the right things, think of the difference that would make in your life. It's been said that you can't put your hand into a pot of glue without some of that glue sticking. And in the same way, you can't put your mind and heart into the works of the masters without some of it sticking. A woman named Dorothy Hirsch always wanted to travel, but she was too busy working until she retired. Then, at the age of 65, she started traveling the world. And in 2004, she made it into the Guinness Book of World Records as the oldest person ever to travel to the North Pole. Dorothy was 89 at the time. Every day is a new day. Every day is a new moment. Whether it's an improved moment is up to us. But every time we are in the flow, every time we choose to think positive thoughts, every time we maintain an upward outlook, every time we believe in ourselves, we are new and improved. The world is waiting for you to help it become new and improved. The way you'll do that is not by trying to change the world, but by changing yourself. Only by personally becoming new and improved will you have a positive impact on the world. Centuries ago, a monk wrote this: "When I was a young man, I wanted to change the world. I found that it was difficult to change the world, so I tried to change my nation. When I found out I couldn't change the nation, I began to focus on my town. I couldn't change the town, and as an older man, I tried to change my family. Now, as an old man, I realize that if, long ago, I had changed myself, I could have made an impact on my family. And my family and I could have made an impact on our town. And their impact could have changed the nation. And I could have indeed changed the world." As Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in your world. Do something new. Do something improved. The new and improved in me sees the new and improved in you. Namaste.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Spiritual Wisdom Weekly. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, follow us on social media at Greater Orlando Center for Spiritual Living, and support our work, including this podcast, at gocsl.org. Until next time, take good care and keep growing in spirit.